Hey, good to see you, man. How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good here in Vancouver. It's sunny today after a rainy day yesterday. So definitely changing of the seasons up here in the Pacific Northwest. Hope everyone is
Nice.
okay. I hope not too many people here are in Florida right now. And those that are, hopefully you're staying safe.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this AMA. I've been having conversations with Santiago, in general, just about this product, and I love the insight and the way he's thinking through the product in general. So really excited about this. Give me 1 second, everyone. I'm just gonna put in the general chat that this has started to make sure everyone has came through. By the way, and I just want to check as well with Gala Prod Pusher. Are we recording this? Can you make sure that this is recorded, please? Jeff usually handles that, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it. Oh, good to see a bunch of the team in here. Appreciate you all for sliding through. Give me 1 second. Just going to.
I know many people from the team want to hear more from me, but good to see you all.
Most definitely. Cool. All right, I just let people know. Oh, nice. Yeah, good. 5 chocolates for Lava, Bobby Millet. Oh, it's good to see you, Lava. I have not. You're not allowed to talk about work. It's good to see you, Lava. Good to see you in the mix. Thank God that Bobby Millet didn't go. I see you, man. Oh, what's up, Stuart? Appreciate you sliding through. Galanodal. Yeah, thank you for everybody for coming through today. Just want to make the goals of this conversation very clear. We're here to get to know Santiago better. Community is all about building with each other, and it's important for Santi to get to know you all, and for you all to get to know him. So, gonna be kind of going through his experiences. There's a lot happening kind of behind the scenes in terms of how this proposition is going to go forward. And we're also going to have an AMA with Top Boy Q tomorrow, the one who kind of put together the new white paper. So I know there's probably questions around that. And we're going to articulate very clearly how each change has helped this product to a step towards having more equitable distribution and just more being more simplified in general. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and we're still in the early stages of all this. So just kind of wanted to reiterate that point about what this specific Discord stage is for. So let's get started. It looks like we have a pretty good crowd here. Yeah, first of all, Santiago, let's just start with some icebreakers. Some simple questions. What is your favorite color?
I haven't been asked that in a long time. I don't really think I have one. I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be some shade of blue. I'm a Chelsea fan. For those that follow sports, I've been a Chelsea fan my whole life, and they're blue, and I like living by the water. So I don't know. Maybe it would be that one.
That's a good, yeah, that's a good answer. Ooh, wait, what did Bobby say? I don't trust anyone who doesn't have a favorite color. That you gotta explain that logic, Bobby. That doesn't really make sense, but it's all good. Yeah, and second of all, like, what is your favorite genre? Let's go with the music genre first.
I don't think I have a favorite genre either. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in Colombia in South America, and I was definitely, probably the soundtrack of my life back then was a lot of grunge Pacific Northwest rock, indie rock like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and those kinds of bands. And so I have a lot of nostalgia for those. And anytime I see any sort of collaboration between artists, over the last sort of decade of those bands, it always kind of really brings me back, or I find those very exciting. Today, I don't know. I listen to trying to think of off the top of my head what's on my list is things like drama. I listen to Latin music, so I don't know, Maluma, Goosey, who's actually a cousin of mine. I think he's nominated for a Latin Grammy this year, I believe. So I listen to Latin music. I listen to, I guess, Radiohead was probably my favorite band of all time. It could be Radiohead. And yeah, I think recently I'm listening to a little bit more kind of synth pop, indie pop, that kind of stuff for some reason. But I don't have, a go-to. I think it really depends on my mood and what I want to listen to at the time.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. No, but interesting diversity of genres there for sure. Coetus, yeah, you did come too late, but it's all good, man. Good to see you here now. Once again, I want to let everyone know too that whoever is in this kind of Discord stage will get a chance to win a free mystery box. So want to kind of yeah, just emphasize that. But yeah, let's go into kind of your background and experience. Can you share your journey in the gaming industry and what led you to take on the role of head of product at Gala Music?
Yeah, so I started, I don't know, 16 years ago. I'm not doing the math right, probably right now. But my career started at Electronic Arts. I got pretty lucky getting an opportunity to sort of transform the FIFA franchise. I worked there for over 10 years, and it was I don't know if you guys play FIFA or any sports titles, but it was during basically the FIFA 09 to FIFA 19 was my tenure there. I was the creative director. I was lead producer for a while before. And before I joined EA, I actually had no idea about making video games whatsoever. I learned everything on the job. I asked lots of stupid questions and just, little by little worked on making that game a very successful game. And after a while, I decided I wanted to just step outside of my comfort zone as a massive football fan and having learned and gotten the product to where it got to. At EA, I felt like there wasn't a huge challenge every year, and it was almost too comfortable for me. So decided to leave. And at the time, this was 2018, I think it was. Obviously, some of you may be very early into crypto, but for me, that's when I got in. Dapper Labs reached out to me before I left, and basically they said to me, "Hey, they're here in Vancouver, also, by the way, for those that don't know. I had a lot of serendipity with my career, like moving to Vancouver from Colombia by myself, going to university here, deciding to stay, and then EA happened to make FIFA here, which makes no sense. But here's where the biggest EA Sports studio is, so they make it here. Then Dapper Labs happens to be here. So there's a lot of luck in some of my journey for sure. But anyway, Dapper Roham, the CEO, reached out, and they have this big mission of bringing. I still remember it was bring the first billion people onto the blockchain. And at the time, they had CryptoKitties that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. But they didn't really have anything that was appealing to a non-crypto audience. And so in conversations with them, we found this common ground around how sports could be a path for that, because people that love sports really over-index in their ability to, not ability, sorry, they over-index in their propensity to use complementary experiences for their fandom. So, if you love the NFL, chances are you've played Madden, chances are you play in the office fantasy pool, maybe you place bets, on DraftKings or whatever. So, for some reason, the sports audience is primed for, trying a new technology. And so my role as the head of sports was to come in and come up with a concept that could bring sports fans onto the blockchain. And so I came up with NBA Top Shot, and maybe, I don't know, depends on where you want to take this conversation. We can get into some of the, I don't know, sort of the initial kind of creative, thoughts around what led to that, the inception of that concept and maybe that initial journey. But for now, I'll skip. And yeah, I don't know, from there I've been at Scopely in Los Angeles, made casual mobile game there. I was the executive producer for Monopoly Go that turned out to be a massive success. I believe it's still the fastest growing mobile title to reach $2 billion in revenue in history. So that it definitely surpassed everyone's expectations. And I've been in a lot of startups in, doing sort of predictor games, sports, gambling products, a whole bunch of different things. And now to actually answer your question, like why did, how did that
No, this
bring,
is great. You're doing great.
how that brought me to music is and again, we'll probably dive deeper into this train of thought, but when I look at products or opportunities, I like to think of underserved audiences in some shape or form. And so, if you think about, I don't know, the things that Duolingo has done when it comes to, learning a language and how to gamify that experience, and they make, over $500 million a year in revenue. Or you could think about, I guess, Top Shot in a way, right? Like, okay, you have people that love sports, and subcategory of those people love sports collecting. There's a tradition to sports collecting, and baseball cards and Panini World Cup albums, etc., etc. And how could we reimagine the collecting practice in the digital space, right? And that is sort of how something like Top Shot starts, being conceived. And with music, I feel like there's a huge opportunity because it is such a big part of most people's lives. Most people, love music, even though it's a very personal journey. But most people have obviously a positive resonance to music as an art form. It's an art form that shapes culture, and when you have a community of people that are hyper passionate about something, there's always the opportunity to sort of serve that passion. And what I mean by that is when you really care about something, right, and you are surrounded by other people that really care about that same thing, people that have a passion like to define themselves by the pursuit of that passion. And I think when I look at music, then yeah, maybe there's lots of tools out there for musicians, like people that want to create music. And then there is a lot of platforms out there, right, Spotify or SoundCloud, that provide the right interface and experience if you want to just listen to music. And I think there's just a huge opportunity for how to actually create a much more engaging product, leveraging some of so game design experience that we will have in the team. But again, you could use Duolingo as a potential kind of analog here and in a different space. But I think there's a huge potential to create a product that is truly differentiated, and to kind of put it bluntly, it scratches a different itch for music fans. And I think that's how we can differentiate ourselves, how we can really be at the tip of the spear of what Music 2.0 could really be in terms of products and platforms. And that's kind of the exciting direction that I would like us to start thinking about, and why I think music is so well placed to have this type of disruption.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And that's been what's really exciting for me when I talk to you about the product, because it looks like you're thinking bold. You're thinking of the questions of how can we, make this platform any music fan can enjoy. That's different from a Spotify, and in a gamified fashion. And so, when we were having conversations around that, I definitely it excited me. And we all know the core of this foundation is the music ecosystem at the end of the day. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing how some of your thoughts kind of become into reality with this product. And I see a lot of other Web3 music platforms, and it doesn't feel like people are thinking of in that angle. We have a lot of just a variety of interesting perspectives across the team, but definitely something I have been excited about. And by the way, I love how you're just flowing. I think everyone can see the thought you've been putting into just about this product, and how your prior experiences kind of has been helping you attack kind of how the different facets and goals you want to accomplish with this product. So that's been really interesting to see behind the scenes and now. But let's just get into it. Yeah, when you were talking about the conception of NBA Top Shot and that process. Let's definitely dive into that. Yeah, how was kind of that process of kind of creating the foundations of NBA Top Shot, and what have you learned about that?
So, I mean, my memory's probably a bit fuzzy, but as I said initially, it was this. Okay, here's the challenge, right? How do you expand the audience? How do you bring people that love sports and are not into crypto? So that alone, that big sort of challenge already starts giving you some guardrails. Because, okay, what does that mean? It means if you're going to bring a mass audience, especially back then, the UX of adopting crypto was absolutely horrendous. I still think it has ways to go. So already that's something how do we abstract the technology? How do we allow for fiat payments? How do we make this, this value proposition not about the technology, but about the motivation that you as a sports fan would have. And by the way, in this case, at this point, I'm still thinking sort of sports generic, right? Like I'm not even thinking basketball specifically, because at this point I'm still waiting to go on a roadshow to see what other what leagues are interested in something like this. There was complete uncertainty on whether anyone was going to be into this concept at the time. Then the next thing is, okay, when you're building something, and this applies to music quite a bit too, when you're building something for a niche of like hyper passionate people, then authenticity is key. Right? So, okay, that's why we want licenses. That is why we need to go and get IP. That is why this needs to feel like you're sort of respecting the knowledge, respecting the fandom of sports fans. And so that gives you also a sense of, okay, how should we, what's the level of quality we should design the collectibles around? When you think of scarcity or, the sort of live operations of packs and how you distribute the product, like how do we make that fun and engaging but also authentic, because in a way these products are also vehicles to like create a conversation. Like, if you think about, let's say again, obviously we can fast forward, the NBA were super interested in this. They wanted to be first. They wanted to be the most innovative in, compared to the other North American sports leagues. So you think about it from their perspective. Okay, we have a product, it's basketball, and that product happens, not all year round, and the games are not every single day. And so for them, strategically, a product like this is, how can we have a touch point with fans that is almost 24/7, right? How can there be a conversation, like when a game ends and there's an amazing play, an amazing highlight, where do they go, right? Right now they just go on Twitter or, Instagram, and they would look at the highlight reel, or they would engage in conversation there. If you're the NBA, it's like, how do you capture some of that engagement, and how do you productize that engagement and provide sort of an actual product that offers a cohesive, experience around that passion of wanting to engage with what's happening in the league and the best moments in the league outside of the game itself. And then it was, so you start sort of strategizing around that, and then you start thinking about, okay, how do we reimagine the collecting practice, right? If we're going to go with like an ultimate team type of pack opening and rarities of cards and stuff like that, how do you create the right sort of almost front-end experience for it? And, you could think of, let's say at the time I remember So Rare already existed, although they only had the Belgian league. I still remember this very, very early days. The CEO had his own Discord. I was one of the few people on it. And everyone who was doing NFTs were doing it with like still images. They were almost so, this is a term I use sometimes, like very skeuomorphic, right? They were just looking at, okay, what is the physical version of this card? Let's just make a digital version of the exact same thing. And to me, that always just left a lot of potential on the table, because what you could do digitally is actually have leverage a different type of media. And that's where the idea of having videos, came from. And the idea that you want to collect not just a player that exists outside of any context, but collect a moment in time. And so now you may think, why is that even a good idea? And I go back to sort of my first principles of how do you find if the product you're making appeals to a primary motivation of that group of fans, then to me, I thought I'm a massive sports fan, massive 49ers fan. I also follow basketball. I obviously follow, soccer, or I call it football, but for this audience, I should probably just call it soccer. And so sports has been a huge part of my life. I've played many sports throughout my life. And I know that one of the things that, for whatever reason, gives you recognition and status as a sports fan is this idea of I was there when, right? So I was there when the Bucks won their first NBA title, or I was there when Liverpool came back from 3-0 in Turkey to beat AC Milan to win their first Champions League in many years. So those kinds of moments, like if you somehow witness the moment, it kind of just gives you this like recognition amongst other people that either follow that team or follow that sport, and it feels really good inside. And it's the same as, people in the team have heard me talk about these things, right? If you are a foodie, it makes you feel good inside when you like went to a hole in the wall that 10 years later has a Michelin star, and you can tell people that you went before it was famous. And so I was thinking about how this sort of collecting of a highlight of a moment in time appeals to that, like I was there when type of mentality that sports fans have. And so all these things just kind of started coming together, and then we just started shaping the designs and what would the go-to-market strategy be, and and the rest is kind of history. Actually, when I went around North America selling the concept and the NBA wanted it, the NFL didn't want it at the time. They're like, sounds interesting, but not yet. And then obviously it became a big success, and then NFL wanted to be next, and so NFL All Day happened, and the UFC wanted to partner, and so it kind of opened the doors to just a new way of thinking about what digital collectibles and what a crypto product could be, and so on. That I think just got a lot of people through the door, and I think it had a positive impact in the awareness of what digital ownership could be, and what it could mean for these experiences in different realms.
Yeah, and that's what's been interesting is because it looks like kind of, even when you're thinking of this product, your thinking is how do we create these magic moments, right? And so, yeah, definitely interesting to see kind of how your prior experiences of, trying to figure out how to create these magic moments in other products will be kind of translated to this one. But definitely kind of an interesting experience overall. And let's move into kind of your experiences with knowing how to collaborate and just team dynamics in general. So what role do you feel collaboration across different teams like engineering, design, and marketing play in creating a successful product? And how have you facilitated this in the past?
I won't really go into like how I facilitated in the past. I think it's, I don't know, I feel like it's a job interview question. So let's skip that one. But the role of all those groups is, it's just evidently just absolutely necessary, right? Like you can't build the right product if you don't have the right product sort of vision and design. You can't put it into, you're never going to build it if you don't have engineers. You're never going to make the usability right if you don't have UX and UI designers that are great. You're not going to put it in people's hands if you don't have marketing. You're not going to have, a grassroots support and the sort of virality if you don't have community. So to me, all of those things, especially today, in a world where, if you go back 20 years ago, then products would really be dedicated to a mass audience. And I actually think today mass market should be defined a little bit differently because, sorry, I'm taking a bit of a tangent here, but hopefully it doesn't matter.
Keep flowing. Yeah, you're doing.
Yeah, if you think of TV, right? So if you go back to like 70s, 80s, 90s, even though there was like absolute gems there, Seinfeld, and by the way, I'm a big Seinfeld fan, and obviously that again sort of dates me as a child of the 90s, or growing up in the 90s. But most programming was really kind of down the middle, right? It had to be as generic, as vanilla as possible because it was distributed through just, cable TV, and the cable TV business model is to make money, from advertising, and so advertising cares about the most eyeballs, right? So it really wasn't about like creating niche products to capture an audience with a lot of engagement. And now if you move forward, decades, what the internet has really done in terms of what is the result of which, sorry, let me articulate that better. Like what the internet has done in terms of the products that get made is that it allows you to reach a niche that before the business model would have never give you the incentives to do so. So that's even, again, so you can think back in TV, that's where shows, like anything from Game of Thrones to like anything else that you've seen on HBO, that's the beginning of sort of specializing, right? And like higher quality production and going after people that love a particular genre, right? Maybe it's thrillers, maybe it's detective, maybe like whatever it is, right? But that was never going to be successful before. So the distribution had to change. And I think today, bringing it back to your initial question, we, in the Web3 space in particular, I, for example, am very critical of the first wave of quote unquote crypto games. So, I'm talking about like Axie and these kinds of things. And maybe we'll get into that, maybe we won't. But one of the few things that they did do well was that is this idea of what we're having this in the first place, which is building with the community. Coming from a place like EA and even Scopely more recently, using the community has never been really part of the building process, right? Of the ideation, of the let's test this out really early. They're really seen as, okay, let's build this game, let's use our intuition, let's use our data, let's build it, let's ship it. Maybe we'll test it before it ships, but it's already quite a bit downstream. I think what Web3 has done really well is this idea of involving the community early and doing it in a genuine way, right? By including sort of ways where the community has a stake in the project in the first place, a participation, a vote, a voice, whatever it is, but they do so in a genuine way. And so I think that's super important in today's sort of product making, especially in Web3. And I would argue even if you weren't doing a Web3 product, this aspect of Web3 development, of involving the community, is something that should become more the norm, because ultimately they're the people that are really going to champion your product, and you're likely now going to probably have like more success acquiring users through some viral TikTok campaign that one of your super passionate creative fans creates versus traditional performance marketing, and ad buying is through like traditional vehicles. So I'm not a marketing expert by the way, but I think that is just shifting so much, right? Where to create these sort of viral moments is so key to the success of a product. Now that in a way, creating a product and shipping a product is easier than it's ever been, but getting attention on that product, getting virality around that product, because of how saturated certain markets are, is in some ways more difficult than ever. And so that's sort of a good tension that sort of forces us to really lean into the superpowers of Web3 to make a product successful.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I think, especially this community, they're the ones who are going to be using this product and looking into every facet of the product. And so it's always great, the ability for the community to kind of bring to our attentions, the way the user journey or whatever can be better. And so definitely, I think on our side, we want to just make sure there is just more communication and alignment on things going forward. But at the same time, it's important for us to kind of move quick, that there's a balance with that as well. Especially since when you're trying to make a decision, everyone has different opinions at the end of the day on where this product can go. So yeah, I'm just really happy kind of with our team and the way we're going to be moving forward in terms of how this product can be optimized. By the way, guys, I know you guys have a lot of questions. The goal of this session is really just to introduce Santi to the mix, he's new and want to make sure that once certain thoughts are polished and whatnot, we do this again. And so we're gonna have more consistent sessions with Santi. So I see a lot of questions flying out right now, but tomorrow especially, I think a lot of the current system can be analyzed, and we can discuss that further. But just kind of wanted to give you a caveat. Exactly, he's new Monogory. No, definitely. Let's get this guy on the Gala. He's a master marketer. Wait, who are you talking about? Beats and bangers. Yeah, there's just so much questions flying out, and I know, but I think it's important that with these changes that we kind of take a step back and know that there's kind of a bigger picture that's coming into play. But yeah, Santi, I actually felt this was amazing. I think we kind of touched on everything. So certain questions, to be completely transparent, I got generated from ChatGPT. That question definitely felt kind of like an interview question, so my bad on that. But yeah, this was really fun. I really think we kind of like I said, my goal was to really share the thinking that Santi has had on the product. I know you guys probably want another hour of this. It's definitely fun, but oh wow, with the leak. No, we can't be leaking too much, sashimi. But once again, wanted to appreciate you coming. Is there anything else, Santi, that any kind of last thoughts you wanted to share with the community? Once again, I wanted to kind of shout out this community in general. This is a super committed community who really digs into every facet of the product, and this product is a complicated product at the end of the day. So just shout out to you all for participating, and yeah, appreciate Santi for his time coming through here. But Santi, any last thoughts, any last words you want to kind of add into this?
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed it. So hopefully, a lot of people stayed around for the whole thing, and happy to, even though it's just kind of one directional right now, happy to be meeting you in that way. I'm looking forward to collaborating on building this platform out. I know there's I think I just took a look, and there's a lot of questions around the product itself and when it's going to be done. And so, some of those questions are really hard to answer right now. As JaeHoon just said, I started very recently. I'm just, rubbing my head around where we are and where we've been, what's worked, what hasn't worked as much, what has resonated with the community, what hasn't. So there's a lot of kind of looking at, actually, yeah, I'll maybe talk about this for a second. So when I think of a product that already exists like this one, then there's many elements of it that are what I would call like the fundamentals, right? So anything from the usability, how intuitive it is, does it have too many features, too few features, like those kinds of things. There will be sort of refinements and fundamental improvements along those lines. And I want our product to still honor and acknowledge what has worked for the community that has made it the success that it has been so far. I think for us, when we think about, I think you mentioned at the top of the call, JaeHoon, thinking about going in a bold direction, that's the part that I'm probably going to be focusing more of my time on, and we'll have to sort of balance our capacity between how much goes into optimizing and refining what's there, and how much goes into the sort of big additions or big new directions. When I think of that new direction, I want it to be something that, again, when people talk about Gala music, they speak about it in a way that it has a place in their pursuit of that music, the passion for music, and how they, again, define themselves as someone that, the pursuit of that passion, of someone that really loves music and it's a big part of their lives. I want Gala music to play, or to have the potential to play an important role in that. So what I mean by that, going back to something I said before, is we shouldn't go in a direction where we're just trying to create, Spotify on blockchain, or SoundCloud on blockchain, because I think that's from a sort of product strategy, even a business strategy perspective, is very difficult to pull that off. So, if I take a step back and not even talk about music in this case, when you are a startup, and let's consider ourselves as a startup product, right? Then your superpowers are building quickly, iterating. This is also where the community comes in, right? Iterating quickly from real data and finding your own path. Like if you build the thing that others are already doing and you think you can just do a little bit better because you have an idea that makes it marginally better, you will get crushed. Because those other businesses, you should first of all assume they're actually not dumb, they're smart because they managed to have a viable business. So they have way more resources, they are smart, they have a market that they've captured. And so anything that you come up with that is just sort of additive to what they are doing, they can just do it themselves, and they'll just crush you, right? They'll make it very difficult for you. So that is not the way to go, even though it is sort of the path of least resistance initially, because that's where someone's already carved. Like if we think of, hey, platforms where you can go and stream music and discover music, that exists. So it's kind of easier to replicate. It's easier to communicate that vision. But again, to grow that into a business that everyone who's a stakeholder into this is excited about is actually much, much harder to pull off, as opposed to having this kind of contrarian approach, right? Where you actually think about what itch isn't being scratched. What is the thing that like music lovers are not really getting, right? That we could do. And it may seem very niche at first. It may seem like ideas that like, is this actually gonna work? But that almost skepticism to me is a good sign that you're on the right track. Because if everyone just, oh yeah, of course that's gonna work, and it's obvious, then probably someone already tried it and it didn't work, and there's a reason why it's not in the market. But if you think of something that gives you a little bit of skepticism and you're like, will this work? Maybe, but it has these issues. And then that's sort of the type of kind of road you want to go down, because if you create something that is not easy for a big company to pivot, then you can create your own, like you can carve your own path, capture your own market, and become the sort of tip of the spear of that new thing. And, I could, right now I'm kind of having a bit of a blank here, not thinking of too many examples, but again, Duolingo could be one of those examples. But you could think of anything that feels like it was a very innovative idea and it disrupted some sort of space. Then that is what I'm thinking about from a high level product strategy for this platform. Obviously, the Gala team has a lot more detail into that vision, and we are already in like concepting phase and kicking the tires on several specific ideas. So we're further ahead than what I'm communicating here, even though it's early days for me. But I just wanted, we're not ready to share that more widely. But I just wanted to kind of share just very high level strategy, that the things we'll communicate will hopefully sound exciting and things that that everyone feels like is going to resonate with you as a as a fan, as a member of the community, as someone that uses the platform. And it is also going to feel maybe sometimes a little bit uncomfortable because it's new and it's bold and no one's done it, and that is actually a good sign if we kind of sit with that discomfort long enough to make it a success. That's what I'm looking for.
Agree. And at the heart of at the end of the day, we're creating a product that no one has ever created. So I think there's gonna be just a lot of excitement in terms of how this all comes out. But yes, Santi, appreciate kind of this discussion, man. Yeah, and in terms of people who stay, we have 53 people in the crowd right now. Seemed like most people were enjoying it. I was enjoying listening kind of to your process of thinking with all this. So yeah, guys, we're gonna have this more. Santi's gonna be in the mix, and I'm planning to kind of like organize a session where we're able to kind of give updates on what's happening on the product side, so you all see from all departments how we're pushing the pendulum forward and how we're just want to make sure that you guys all see kind of the extensive work that's going behind the scenes. So once again, appreciate you, Santi, for this call. Tomorrow we're going to be having the AMA discussion with Top Boy Q, the kind of mastermind behind the new white paper that we had. As a cliffhanger, I'm also going to be we're going to be giving away Top Boy Q's social security information as well. So definitely stop by. No, I'm just messing. But yeah, definitely wanted to kind of keep this concise. You already know it's good, Ali. So, Crip Pack, thanks, Santi. Glad to have you here. Welcome. Roger5, see you again tomorrow, Santi. Sashimi Kun says, I can say Santi's idea is very unique and one of a kind, at least in music industry environment. Facts. Yeah, we're all excited to have Santi in the mix with us. Think that there's a lot of exciting things coming, and just want to reemphasize. Sometimes, like I know we've been having conversations about what now, right? Like now, oh well, this change resulted in this, and we see the immediate impacts, but sometimes we have to take a step back in order to see the full picture. And we're still early in the stages of Web3, especially Web3 music. So if we can get kind of prepared, this space is all about timing as well. So just want to continue to let everyone know, like as a team, we have confidence in this product going forward, and hope you guys can kind of come to share that confidence with us. What's Santi's favorite color? Light blue. Oh, okay. Whoa, Sashi. That's hilarious. Cool. All right, guys. So I am going to give 3 mystery boxes to someone random here in the crowd today too. So in addition to Sashimi sending 10 mystery box, keep coming through, Roger. I know you're a big fan of the mystery boxes, so you better be attending every one of them. Also with these AMAs, I'm gonna try to find a better time period because I know we got people from the UK, I know we got people from Korea, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same. We're gonna be able to find the right timing for everyone who's coming through. Hi, I'm Randa. How do you do? Thanks, Hoon. You already know Beats and Banger. Sashimi Roger is gonna be hyped. All right, guys. Anyways, I'm having too much fun. Let's end this out. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Santi, for joining through. We will have a discussion later, and we'll post a recording about this somewhere later. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye.
My pleasure. Bye, everybody.
See you.